To ladies and gentlemen, gays and lesbians, bisexuals, tomboys, and all, I wish for your good health and well-being. I, John Kenneth D. Cabarles, am honored to speak in front of you today about mental illnesses. May I ask, do you frequently experience a sudden feeling of emptiness for no apparent reason? Did you lose the joy of doing something that used to excite you before? If your answer is yes, you may be going through depression or a mental health issue in a broader sense. Mental illnesses are, by no means, a minor social issue. According to the World Health Organization, approximately 970 million people are living with mental health problems. In hindsight, 1 in every 8 people suffer from it. I used to be one of those people. At the youthful age of 14 years old, I experienced depression due to severe financial problems that my family went through. It was a hindrance to my studies and overall living. Though I'm proud to say that I'm in a much better state of living right now, my biggest regret was neglecting it as it could have materialized into something much severe. My experience is only one in millions more from people with different backgrounds. Imagine how many people have gone through worse and more traumatic experiences than mine. I realized that people of all ages can develop mental illnesses, but the youth are especially vulnerable to them. I am picked to tell you about the causes of mental illnesses, how it affects the well-being of teenagers, and argue why we should stop neglecting mental health issues. Mental health illnesses and disorders are a wide range of health conditions that affect how a person thinks, feels, and behaves. It may develop due to heredity. It may also be due to external forces such as living in stressful environments, abuse, poverty, or childhood trauma and neglect. People of all ages are subjected to mental illnesses. The youth, however, are most vulnerable. Research conducted by the United Nations Children's Fund and World Health Organization showed that 10 to 15% of Filipino teenagers ages 5 to 15 are affected by mental illnesses. Moreover, teenagers tend to neglect their conditions due to various reasons, but the leading one is stigma surrounding mental health disorders. The neglect of mental illnesses is still a prominent problem in our society. This is proven by the lack of mental health education for the youth, limited participation in mental health awareness campaigns, and very few free mental health checkup facilities. In addition, people with mental illnesses are forced to neglect their conditions due to society's poor perception and treatment of those who are mentally ill. This is what we call stigma, or a negative view on a particular person due to certain attributes such as skin color, gender, health conditions, etc. In fact, over 85% of people with mental illnesses are not receiving the treatments that they need. Reasons vary, but stigma plays a big role in doing so. Mental illness is the root cause of many social issues troubling the Philippines. For the youth, their education, habits, and living in general are affected by it. Mental illness is a reason for students' dwindling energy level, concentration, dependability, mental ability, and comprehension skills, therefore hindering academic performance. Furthermore, it increases the likelihood of absenteeism, which then leads to missing out on lessons. The 2013 Young Adult Fertility and Sexuality Study found that 1 in every 10 Filipino students are affected by mental health problems. Research also suggested that depression is associated with lower grade point averages in the Philippines. As a student myself, I know firsthand how awful it is to have depression while in school. That looming feeling of emptiness made it difficult for me to concentrate in class, and that resulted in low grades. Next, the neglect of mental illness is also a contributing factor to the abundant cases of drinking and smoking addiction among Filipino teenagers. The University of the Philippines Population Institute found that out of every 10 young adults, 3 are currently drinking and 1 is smoking. The widespread alcohol and smoking addiction among Filipino teenagers is the result of many factors, but the leading ones are peer pressure and depression. Alcohols and cigarettes contains addictive substances such as nicotine and tobacco that produces a powerful sensation in the brain. It temporarily blunts negative thoughts and replaces them with pleasurable ones. Hence, it is used as a coping mechanism for depression. Depression launches an individual into deadly addictions. Conversely, this addiction slowly deteriorates the mental well-being of a person that may push them to do the extreme, committing suicide. Suicide is the act of intentionally causing one's own death. People often commit suicide because they no longer see the point of living or because a contributing factor pushed them to do so. These factors include mental disorders, addiction, abuse, or bullying. Based on a survey led by the University of the Philippines Population Institute and the Department of Health, approximately 7.5% or 1.5 million Filipino teenagers have attempted suicide. Unfortunately, only 4 out of every 10 people have told anyone about it. The statistics will not drop. It will continue to rise unless acted upon. In a nutshell, the poor development of the Filipino youth is the outcome of neglecting mental illnesses. But, even after being presented with statistical evidences, some people still see mental disorders among the Filipino youth as mere childish complaints. Not only do they neglect the mental health issues of teenagers, they also invalidate them, saying things like, she's just a child who hasn't experienced the challenges of the real world yet. What do they know about mental illnesses? I'd like to remind those individuals that people of all ages can develop mental disorders. Mental health is an important aspect of human well-being, and everyone deserves respect and compassion regardless of their mental health status. People with mental health conditions are not defined by their illnesses, but by their strengths, abilities, and potential. So why should we stop neglecting mental health issues? Because doing so allows teenagers to properly grow up and develop. I am always reminded of the quote, "Ang kabataan ng pag-asa ng bayan," said by Dr. Jose Rizal. But, if the future adults of the world are dominated by mentally broken people, what happens then? If we should take a step closer into achieving a utopian country, let us stop neglecting the mental health problems of people, especially the youth. I am calling all important figures to action. To the government, put efforts into reducing the still prominent problem of stigma surrounding mental health disorders, provide more inexpensive, if not free, mental rehabilitation facilities, and encourage the integration of better mental health education into the current curriculum. To the world, let us not forget that there's always more than what meets the eye. In the year 2024, let us not shame people for their mental incapabilities. Respect those who deserve to be respected and see the difference it would make.